this is Alex Hopper. This is to be the new and updated Across the Circus, where I sit here and get to be a little bit more personal with you, have a little bit more inflection in my voice, and really tell you what I think about issues going on in the world, and just kind of try to explain to you in a little bit more long-form content about what I think, what's going on, what can we do about it, and ultimately wrap it up with a nice little message. This is Across the Circus, and let's get into it. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is something you've probably already heard about, plenty, is East Palestine. Not in the Middle East, but in Ohio, United States. There has been a flurry of news coming out of East Palestine after train derailments and explosions involving toxic waste spreading through the air, the ground, and the groundwater. It's all been horrible over there as of late, with people's tap water lining on fire, people's tap water changing colors, people claiming sickness, headaches, dizziness, shortness of breath, and all other sorts of symptoms of toxic exposure. One woman's chickens, who she kept in the backyard for eggs, was found dead after being exposed to all the toxic chemicals in the air, with no signs of breaking entry or any form of blunt force trauma to the chickens. Norfolk Southern, the train company responsible for the spillage and explosion, has been offering free tests to residents in the area, but they have been handing out hold harmless agreements in exchange for these tests. If you don't know what a hold harmless is, it is basically saying that you hold as in legally liable, harmless as in free from blame on anything in this situation. So they're basically saying, we will test your home to figure out if you have been poisoned, but only if you agree not to blame us if you were. When Norfolk Southern was caught on this, they claimed it was accidental, while many people received these hold harmlesses. So there's some fishy stuff going on there. And during all of this, where is the president in Ukraine, giving billions of dollars to a border dispute between two countries that are not ours? Well, hundreds of thousands of people are still being affected by this accident across the United States, where this cloud and also continued groundwater movement is spreading these toxic chemicals. Pete Buttigieg, who is the Secretary of Transportation, refused to show up to East Palestine until it came out that former President Donald Trump was making a trip there. Since his arrival there, he has had many less than favorable interactions with reporters, including harassing one of the female reporters with lewd remarks and actions. And the gaslighting and cover-up has been something like you would have seen in Pripyat with the Chernobyl explosion, telling people they're not sick whenever people have reactions, that it's not because of that, and that everyone's safe and you don't have to move, and that the government's not coming to help. With groups even like SNL, Saturday Night Live, making fun of those involved with the East Palestine, claiming that the bad things are happening due to this spillage and that no one is helping. And there is still no signs of charges against Norfolk Southern, who is responsible for this spillage. Something that we have seen many times before, if you remember Deepwater Horizon, where the environment and people and animals are all affected and no one is held liable. And those who speak out against it are ridiculed, gaslit, and told that they're wrong. And if you haven't been paying attention for the past 3 or 4 years, you must be used to that by now. With thousands of more residents reporting themselves as sick and showing symptoms every day, we can only hope that someone, somewhere will be competent enough to deal with this. And in the meantime, I encourage you to find local charities, to reach out to these people who have been affected, help them, their families with relocation, with medical treatment, and I guarantee the huge amounts of cancer that's going to be coming forward in the next few years. Let's get into the news. First story today comes out of Iran, where an investigation has begun into the poisoning of hundreds of schoolgirls with toxic gas. While none have died, over 700 girls have been suffering from respiratory symptoms due to a gas that has overtaken a school in Iran. It is being theorized that this is the Islamic sect in the area trying to enforce the no women receiving education rules, but nothing has been confirmed yet. Many of the girls have reported things smelling off like rotten oranges or fish whenever they were not meant to smell like that. This has been theorized to be the poisoning being delivered, and many of the women are too afraid to continue school. Out of Hong Kong, supermodel Abby Choi was found chopped to pieces inside of a soup pot. A family of 4 has been charged. Our last story from abroad today comes out of Russia, where Putin says he will take into account NATO's nuclear capabilities. This comes after his many threats of war, saying that NATO has made a promise to take a strategic defeat to Russia and inflict pain and suffering on their people, saying that he will take NATO's capability into account while trying to secure the security and strategic stability of the country. That's not going to be fun, folks. Now for something much closer to home. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis finally signs into law the new rules that Disney must play by. After years of having special rules and roundabouts and self-management, Disney must now answer to the state board that is now controlling the Walt Disney World District. Where the company used to get by not having to meet building codes for Florida, as well as not meeting fire codes for Florida, they will now have to meet both, as well as any other codes they have been avoiding up to this point. Our next story, as you've probably seen, is the Chinese spy balloon that was flying over the U.S. After making its way all across the U.S. and even flying over multiple nuclear power facilities, including Nuclear One in Arkansas, it went out over the coast in North Carolina, where it was promptly shot down by F-16s, which is, I believe, the first engagement F-16s have had in a very long time, if ever. And for our last story here at home today, I can encourage you to listen to the other show that I will be doing on this podcast today. It may have come before or it may come after, where I'm going to cover the Ohio situation, but a small snippet from that is the harassment and arrest of a reporter that was involved during the press conference given by the governor of the state. The reporter was harassed and beaten and pushed by the Ohio National Guard General before being placed in handcuffs and led out. Many have called this a violation of the First Amendment, and his charges have since been dropped, but many still question as to what is going to be done to the general and the involved arresting officers and sheriffs. And that was the news overall. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay informed, and don't forget to turn off the gas stove before you go to bed. This is Alex Hopper, signing on.